Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Wine Therapy. I'm really excited about this wine that I'm going to tell you about really quickly that I'm drinking tonight to film. This is one of our clients' vineyards wine, and I can drink a lot of this wine. And because it is a small ranch that is making the wine, I do not get a hangover. It's amazing. And so, cheers. Let's dive into it. So, tonight I want to talk about rekindling old friendships because quite a few of my episodes that have done the best on here, and I've had probably the most people reach out to me about, are about friendship breakups. And I want to go into this making it very clear I am not condoning or encouraging you to befriend somebody again if that's not something you want to do on your own. But I do want to share about how recently I felt like this is something I wanted to do on my own. Nothing persuaded me, nothing really triggered it. I think it was just enough time has passed since our incident that made us stop being friends for 3 years, stop talking, stop every interaction on social media, and just we kind of fell apart. And I kind of want to talk about how I just rekindled this friendship. And if you would have told me that 3 years ago, 2 years ago, or even last year, I would laugh in your face because I wouldn't believe you. But I want to talk about it because I'm really happy with this decision and I'm really proud of myself. And I see a lot of growth. Because again, I would have never been able to do these things um, in the past. But due to the growth from the situation, I felt ready to do so, and it was a great decision. So I want to reflect on that with you guys. So, as we recall, I have a few episodes where I talk about a particular friendship breakup that I went through and how devastating it was and how challenging it was, and how it's not really talked about how that's sometimes even worse than a romantic breakup. And I never really got into what happened between us, and I'm still going to respect myself in having to share that story because it hurt really bad and it's not something that I like to share with people. Um, but something happened where I just didn't feel like I could ever look at my best friend at the time the same. I feel like there were a lot of things that built up to this one occasion, and it was my last straw. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I was done. And I have been great. I mean, it's been 3 years, so I'm not going to sit here and, talk you through the past 3 years of how grieving that has been. But I will tell you that there has not been any time that I stopped thinking about her or stopped wishing the best for her. And we had each other blocked for 3 years. But I had unblocked her a while ago, and she still had me blocked for whatever reason. And so I was always kind of curious, like what if I did reach out? Not in like a let's be friends again way, but just to reach out and like say, hi, like I still think about you and I hope you're doing well. This is something I thought about doing for a really long time. And one day I woke up super early to go to a wine tasting from Tahoe to go to Napa for the weekend because my brother's getting married there. And so, anyways, I had this long drive. And to me, anytime I'm on a plane or I'm on a drive, I ponder. Let me tell you, I ponder. So I tend to overthink things when it comes to this, or I just brush it off really quickly because I'm like, why would I be the one to reach out? Like I definitely hold a grudge and it's something I work on. And it's yeah, it's something that I've thought about for a really long time. I just didn't want to be the one to do that, or like, why would I reach out or this and that? And to it got to the point where when I thought about it this time, I didn't feel that way. And I think that's because I grew a little bit out of that, thinking more like it's not for anyone other than for myself. And just this is something I've been wanting to do. Like, why not? So I decided to text her. And I just basically said, like, I know it's been a long time, but I still think about you and I still obviously hope that you're doing well. Um, blah, blah, blah. It was really short and sweet. And she responded. Um, and kind of went back and forth. It was just like kind of exciting, like, oh, like that's cool. Like, because to me, a lot of time has passed that I'm kind of over what happened because so much time had passed that I would hope she's not that same person, just like I'm not the same person. Like, I just feel like I've grown so much since our friendship. And so I figured that hopefully she did the same during our time apart. And we kind of said, like, okay, like, how are you? What's new? But obviously, that's 3 years worth of catching up to do. And so I don't like having to gauge that situation via text. So I suggested that we like schedule the time to maybe FaceTime and catch up. So we did. I was really nervous, but also like really calm. I don't know how to explain it. And I didn't go into it thinking that we would talk at all about what happened and our falling out and that situation, just because to me, like, there's nothing that she can say to fix it. And there's also no undoing it. So to me, I'm just like, why even bring it up? Because it is kind of triggering for me to talk about. And she again, I wasn't gonna bring anything up. I didn't imagine she would. I just kind of thought it would be two old friends catching up. And we did. We caught up. It felt like no time had passed. Like, it was just funny. And she did give me a brief, like, heartfelt apology. And I can tell she meant it at the time because I was really happy she mentioned it because I wasn't going to, because I feel like that wouldn't be my place to initiate a conversation about it. I mean, I could have, I didn't want to, and I didn't see a point to. And so when she did, I was really happy. And I thought that was big of her to apologize because I don't see her future or her past self when we were best friends doing that. So it did mean a lot to me. And I, I appreciated it. And that was that. And we kind of just kept in touch over the next couple weeks. And then we did like a little wine FaceTime night, which we used to do when we were still like best friends because we were like long distance best friends. We made it work. And so we decided to do that. And it was really, really fun. We caught up and I just, again, it felt like no time had passed, but I still wanted to see what it would be like, almost like being with her and like being around her, to get like a true judgment on the situation. So we talked about, how can we see each other next? Should I visit you? Should you visit me? And we settled on her coming to visit me. So this past weekend, she just left yesterday. Um, my ex best friend, who I've talked about on here, um, who I hadn't seen in 3 years with no contact at all, flew to Tahoe to come visit me for the weekend. And I had the best weekend ever. But I do want to talk about this a little bit because it's felt like no time had passed and our friendship just immediately sparked again. We're so comfortable around each other. We tell each other everything. Um, but I do want to add that I'm a different person than I was in our friendship, just like I would hope she is a different person. And I look back at our friendship now that I have 3 years of new life experiences and friendships that I look and reflect on. I look back at our friendship that we had and I noticed that it was very codependent. I think we both found each other at a time that we both really needed each other in our lives. And we kind of only had each other. And I think that was beautiful about our friendship. But I also think that that was like kind of our downfall in our friendship, that we didn't have space to grow individually. We just kept growing our friendship. And I think that I needed time and space to grow. And I think that she really did too. And I think after spending time with her, I see that I think those 3 years were great space for us to grow separately into our own individual people because everything was her and I. Like, everything about us was her and I. It was together. We didn't have anything separate. We told each other everything. And so I think cold turkeying our friendship like we did, which was not like something I wanted to do, but I felt like I was in survival mode and had to do. I think that we grew as individuals, and I think it was really good for both of us. And now I think we're both better versions of ourselves, to the point that our friendship looks, in my opinion, much healthier. We would talk on the phone like 5 times a day. Now I can't imagine doing that with anyone. We would stay in instead of going out so we could FaceTime, and like I want to go meet people now. Like, I think everything that happened, like I would want to call her first. And I think all those things are okay. especially in like a female friendship. But I think I've grown out of that where most of my friendships now I don't need to talk to every day to be your best friend. Um, with all my friendships since that situation with her have been like that. And I think it's just way healthier. And so I think moving forward in whatever our friendship might look like, which is still something I'm trying to navigate, I think I feel so confident in holding that boundary of like, we don't have to ever get to where we were before because as great as it was also awful in different ways, which ended up falling apart and crumbling. And we didn't see each other for 3 years. So I don't want to call it space because we just had 3 years of space, but I think it's better to say we have boundaries now that I'm excited to implement and, you know, get comfortable with. Um, so yeah, I do want to talk about like moving forward with this friendship because it is something that, as I keep saying, it feels like no time has passed. My decision to reach out to her and like befriend her, like I guess rekindle whatever our friendship was before, um, was because I started asking myself, like I always tell myself, like, forgive but never forget. And I realized that in this past year, probably, I've been really working on forgiveness. And I think that I have been practicing it very well. And I'm very proud of that growth. And I think with everybody I've ever had any issues with in my life, I had forgiven them. But of course, I never forget. And with her, I never did forgive her because I hurt that bad. Um, and so I think I kept asking myself, like, okay, I either like continue to not forgive her and still also not forget, or I can forgive her and just never forget and um, give it a go because at this point, I don't think she could hurt me as much as she has before. So I'm willing to take the risk almost because our friendship was awesome and I do love her. And I think I'm just willing to risk it where it's like, all right, well, I need to see if she has changed and grown, like I think she has, but I need to see that for myself over time before I can fully trust her again. So I definitely have like walls up, which I think will hopefully eventually go down. I want them to, but again, trauma hides until it's triggered. And I think that there are a lot of little triggers that I have with how our friendship ended. And it's something I'm really scared of in new friendships. And it's something I carry with me because it happened. I can't undo it. So, as much as I can forgive, it's really difficult for me to forget this one. And I always preach to never forget because I think it's important to remember, how somebody's betrayed you or made you feel because otherwise you just get walked all over. But I also think it's important to forgive because I wouldn't have been able to spend a really amazing weekend and rekindle a friendship with her if I didn't decide to forgive her and give it a go. Have I forgotten? Absolutely not. And I won't for a really long time, I don't think. But I'm willing to see if she can get there in my life again. And I hope she can. It's something that I'm going to have to work through and she'll have to continue to prove to me, um, so that I can get out of my head with like what's happened in the past. So we had a great weekend. It couldn't have gone any better. We did talk about what happened between us, like more than just that one apology she gave me over the phone. And it made me feel really good about it because there was alcohol involved and like she kind of confessed that she doesn't really remember totally what happened. And so I was kind of like, well, do you want me to tell you? Because I remember. And um, so we sat there and I told her exactly what happened and what she did and why it hurt and what hurt most and how I moved on from it and what my thought process was when I packed up my suitcase and left without saying a word to her. And I didn't sugarcoat it. I told her exactly how I felt and how it affected me moving forward and how it still hurts a lot of my friendships that I have because it's just a trust issue that I carry now. And she was heartbroken, obviously, because she didn't know the extent of it. So I think hearing it, you know, helped her understand. And it also was something I didn't realize I wanted to do or like I should do. I mean, I didn't want to do that because I don't like to relive it either. I mean, that was like heartbreaking and terrible. But I think it's something that we both needed to talk through from like the beginning to end to like finally close that chapter and like be on the same page of like, this happened, this is wrong, here's why. And like she could agree, like hold herself accountable and apologize. And I think that made her apology like valid and, sincere. So I'm happy we had the talk about it. I mean, I definitely did not enjoy myself. Again, it's not something I like to talk about or go into detail about because it makes me really uncomfortable. But I do think that that was important because I don't think that time passing is an apology. I don't think that saying the words I'm sorry is an apology. I think taking accountability for your actions, saying the words I'm sorry, and then it never happening again is an apology. And I think that now we've done these first two steps of like, okay, taking accountability, saying the words I'm sorry. Now I think we're just at the last step of like, okay, now please don't ever do anything like this again and like prove to me you won't. And then like we're good. So she has been so far. And I just think that we're gonna be stuck here for a little bit of time because it did hurt really bad. But I also see us like being how we were. Maybe not how we were, but like as close as we were. Um, minus the like codependency that we had in our friendship because um at one point in my life she was my best friend. I mean, we did everything together, we shared a brain, everything we did, it was us two. We talked on the phone every day, and it's hard to just cut somebody out of your life when you love them that much. And I was able to do it for 3 years, but as enough time has passed and life has been lived, and the more you learn and grow, I just realized like, is it worth this risk or is it not? And I think I finally, in my heart, was able to forgive and try again. And I'm really glad I did. Would I have been able to do this anytime sooner? No. I would not have even been open to the idea or supported the concept of us speaking again. Even though it's something I've always thought about, it just like still was so hurtful and it's something I never got past. I never forgave her for. So being able to, at my own pace with my space that I created away from her, I was able to, forgive in my own heart. And I think that was a really important step in the turning point in me going from being super against ever speaking to her again to actually being the one reaching out and being like, hey, how are you? I miss you. Like, we had a great friendship. And I, as much as what happened sucked, I don't want to forget the good either. So I'm very proud of myself for taking that step because that's something I would never do ever. But I feel like recently, in these past couple years in my life, I have really been trying to forgive people more and not cut people out of my life so easily. Very good at cutting people out really quickly. And I want to be better at not doing that because I think a lot of things that I cut people out of my life for. Maybe not this example, because again, I'm very happy with how the past 4 years of all this played out. It couldn't have gone differently, couldn't have gone better. But I do think in the past, I have cut people out of my life really quickly when like maybe a conversation could have just been had and like we would still be friends or like best friends. And so I'm really trying to work on not getting so hurt and defensive right away when someone does hurt me. And when I say defensive, I don't mean in an argument. I mean like literally, I'm like, okay, goodbye. Like I'm silent. I don't even want to talk to them. I'm just like, okay, like noted, goodbye. I definitely still do that. But I think I do that now in the protection of my own processing to hopefully get to that point because sometimes I'm not ready to talk right away. I don't want to have a conversation about things right away because I know I'm not ready to forgive. And I know I'll probably get there, but I'm not ready to. So I still need that time and that space until I can come around and have those conversations. Um, do I wish sometimes that it wasn't like 3 years? Yeah. But I also won't rush my own healing process and come to those terms on my own. I will never feel like I should rush into having a conversation where apology is owed or there's a disagreement when I don't feel like I'm going into that conversation with a good headspace. Um, so unfortunately, it just took 3 years with this one, but that's okay because now I feel so much better. I feel like I have a friend back, like an old friend who has known me through a lot of life, and it's just healing in its own way. So I hope that makes sense to some of you. I hope it doesn't make sense to those who have really been betrayed because at some point there is a line that needs to be drawn, where you never speak to them again. And just because I've hit this point where I'm able to forgive, don't be hard on yourself if you don't feel like you'll ever forgive that person or if you don't forgive that person ever. That is also okay. I didn't think I ever would, and I thought that was okay, and then I came to it on my own terms of figuring out that I'm capable of forgiving. And for that, I'm proud of myself for getting myself there. So, yeah, that's all for tonight, but thank you guys for listening and for supporting. I still have some first edition hoodies available for sale. If you want to DM me about sizing anything, if you want to just reach out to me, say hi and like be friends, I'm always looking for more friends. Um, my Instagram is wine therapy underscore underscore. And then, of course, available on Spotify and on YouTube. And you'll find the Google form to get a hoodie in my bio on Instagram. So, thanks for sticking around this long if you're still here. And I love you guys and cheers. Talk to you soon.